Is this thing on? They should have like a front-facing like view so you can tell that this thing is recording or on. I mean, yeah, they got monitors, but who has money to be spending on that anyways? Let's see, I think it's on. Hey guys, this is Luis Rivera. Wait, let me put the Luis Rivera little logo, cool, awesome thing. Hey, this is Luis Rivera here, and I want to talk to you guys about night time lapses. And I just did this for the very first time yesterday. I've been taking pictures of landscape, portraits, models, pretty much everything and anything, but I have not done a time lapse before, and it's pretty intense. Like, it was not what I really hoped. I thought that I would actually get a lot more with some current settings, but with the lights, it's a big factor. I mean, there's a lot of little things like, you know, the weather and, you know, the time of night, you know, of course, if it's cloudy. I faced through some clouds, me and my buddy Carter, that he's not here to do the video and explain his portion of the video, but I still mention his name, so giving a shout out to him. But I want to talk to you guys about the experience and how to do it. So when you're trying to find out what these settings means, then you'll know in a second how to, and then you can probably achieve this yourself and have way better results than I faced for the first time. But yeah, so we'll get into it. To have like a checklist mainly before you start this, because I just kind of went at it. I was like a little kid trying to, you know, open presents way before Christmas, and just, you know, to prep you up, please have like at least like a checklist to have something ready to go, because you could mess something up and then all of a sudden it's not what you wanted, and then it just could be a bad outcome. So for the checklist, please have everything on manual lens, have the camera body, you know, set to manual, because if you do this on auto and you're shooting in the dark, I'm not saying you can't achieve it. I'm just saying that it's going to be harder for you to achieve it with these time lapses sequences. I just please have everything on manual if you could. Second of all is that you're going to want a lens that's going to let a lot of light in. So we're going to talk about at least f2.8, 1.4. You know, yes, you can do 4.5, 5.6, but again, the trick here to have an awesome, you know, pictures, you're gonna want to have something as you know, lower focal length, you know, 2.8, 1.8, 1.4, and to achieve a better outcome. Does that make sense? But if not, you know, you can still use the f4. You're gonna have to use higher ISOs to make up for what you can't with f2.8. That's just my opinion. You know, I tested different results and got different outcomes, but again, every camera is different and every aspect can give a different result, which is awesome, and you can actually, you know, play around before you actually do a time lapse. So I experimented using JPEGs instead of RAW, but from what I've been studying and researching, they always say that people and who are photographers who actually do this kind of thing is that they suggest things, you know, taking pictures with RAW format. So let's go over the checklist. Everything has to be manual. The lens has to be manual. The body has to be manual. The camera body. Your focal length 2.8, 1.8, 1.4. If you have the lens, awesome. If you still if you have the 18x55, the standard, you know, f4, you know, lens, then please use that one. Again, we're gonna have to achieve the lower the better to let more light in, but if not, you can use higher ISOs to make up for that. So that's 2. 3, using RAW. Now I'm on the fence because I like both. I like RAW and I like JPEGs, but to get a better outcome where you could do a little bit, you know, photoshopping, Lightroom work, that can be spoken out later, you know, with other videos, use RAW. I personally did JPEG just because I wanted something else, different reasons. So we have lens, manual body, camera body, f2.8, f4, and using RAW. That's 3 so far that I've mentioned. Fourth thing that I want to mention is the full battery, and make sure your storage is completely, have nothing, that you can use all your memory on this event that you're shooting at night. Your card does fill up very, very quickly, so please make sure that baby's empty before you start shooting, because you're gonna take a lot of time, and the shoots are just gonna take up a lot of time, especially if using RAW. So keep that in mind. Also have a spare battery, because like for example, when I went out shooting at night in the cold 20 degrees, it was just like, ooh, it was pretty intense. Wind chill factor, it felt like 11 degrees outside, and that battery would drain a lot quicker because, you know, it's cold. So, you know, please have a spare battery. Have a couple if you have them. The more the merrier. Just make sure that, you know, you keep an eye on your camera from time to time to see the progress and how much, you know, you need to expect this. But anyways, I'm gonna keep moving on. So the fifth thing that I want to mention is the long exposure noise reduction. I keep that off. So awesome. So you got the checklist down, you're ready to go, you got your gear, you're out there in the field. Now it's where the real play comes in. So now you're going to take some test shots, depending on how far out you're in the field or wherever it may be, even might be in your own backyard. But you can have your ISO set from 1600 to 6400. Your focal length could be anywhere from 2.8 to 5.6. So your shutter can be from 15 seconds, you know, long exposure, to 30 seconds. It all depends, and you're gonna have to play around with, you know, see what works best for you. I was using mine at 3200 with a focal length of 2.8 with the shutter, I think, of 15 seconds. 15, and then I would dabble around with different settings just to see how I can get a different effect. But once before I got comfortable, I kept, you know, shooting around, you know, testing different spots, different lightings. You're gonna want to make sure that everything's all into play before you actually settle down and start doing the time-lapse event. So one last thing before I forget, it just crossed my mind right now, white balance. Make sure that it's not on automatic, because it can give you some really weird images. It'll just give you some off balance, and it's not what you were looking for in the first place. So if you can change your white balance, it can be anything from automatic. It can be daylight, tungsten. If there's an effect that you're looking for, then again, I would just play around with that as well, and make sure you have something, just anything, please, besides automatic. So that's one of the things I want to throw out there for you. So great, now you got your checklist ready to go. You got your parameters of what you want, you know, you got comfortable with the, you know, pictures that you want. Now comes to the real test, and it's actually programming the, you know, the time-lapse sequence in order to get yourself started. All you need is a tripod. I mean, you don't even need a tripod. If you can set it somewhere where the angle is just where you want it, you can just use that, and that can be totally fine. You don't need expensive gadgets. You don't need no sliders. You don't know. I mean, if you have them, then great, please use them. But like I said, I'm trying to do what I did, and hopefully from that you guys can, you know, do something and make something awesome of your own. So now let's get to the programming. So now we have our time lapse, which is called interval timer shooting. So we'll go right in here, and you can start it if you have all your options, but since we don't, we're gonna go to start options. You can choose now, which is like the start, in other words, or you can choose to start day and time. This is actually correct. Yep, it's actually the right time. I can set this 5 minutes from now and be like, you know what, let me, in 5 minutes I want to set this, and it's going to start on its own without you having to touch a button. But since we're not going to want to do that, we're going to want to do this now. I will go back to here. So the interval is how many seconds do you want it to, take pictures in between. So for example, I set mine's up for 15 seconds on shutter. So if every 15 seconds or 1/15 of a second, it's gonna shoot a new image. So I'm gonna let it to, put it up to 20 seconds. This is the minutes and this is the hours. I'm gonna put it every 20 seconds because it's gonna still take like at least another 5 seconds to buffer, that other jazz. So I'll leave it at 20 seconds because I'll have it on 15. And let's just say, this is just for practices here. You can mess around with different options and all that other stuff, but this is what I did and this is what I'm using right now. And then this is the number of shots. So every time I take a shot, it's gonna wait 20 seconds. You can see right here, 20 seconds. It's gonna do this 35 times. Now if you want to do that bracketing and all that stuff, you would have to go here, which will be like, you can do it times 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, you can go all the way up to 9 right here. It's bad focusing here, I don't know why. You can go all the way up to 9, but I only went with 1 and I tested it out just to see how it would look. And I went up to, I think, like 85 pictures at one point for every 20 seconds, and I got some real phenomenal stuff. But again, you guys gonna have to play around with it and see what you guys like best and how long do you want it to shoot. Let me see here. And then exposure smoothing, I leave it on. It just helps it better with the time lapses. Okay, here we go. So once it starts, it's gonna say timer active. It's gonna take a picture. Once you take a picture, it's gonna tell you, it's gonna look like this. The interval timer shooting, it's gonna have like a sign, and then it's gonna tell you right there the remaining shots that I put in. So it just took a picture. Now it's actually going to 4, and it's gonna keep going all the way to countdown till you reach where you want it, which is 0, and it'll be done. And then you guys can preview your work, and that's about it. And it's going down to 3. And and you don't have to touch it, you don't have to do anything, just let it do its countdown. And after that, you guys can see the results and see if you liked it. If you didn't, then do it again, choose different settings, just play around with it until you feel yourself comfortable, and actually to the point where you got to perfect it. So it took me a while before I got the settings where I wanted it to be, but the point was that we had fun, we took a lot of pictures, and we got some cool results, which I want to show you right now. You're just gonna have to play around with it, play around with different intervals, see how long your battery lasts. That's also a good test run. If it's during day shots, then shutter speeds and all that will be different, but this was for stargazing, for a meteor shower that just happened, and I wanted to see if these cameras can do it, old or new. Most of them are gonna have different verbiage, what they're gonna say, but it's still the same thing of having your own time lapse. You can have like a remote where you can access, do different ways. There's numerous of ways of how to do it, but I just wanted to show you what's carried with inside the cameras. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So guys, after that, you can go to Lightroom, Final Cut Pro, After Effects, to have your sequence and everything else, but that's a whole different other video. But guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Let me know what settings you guys use, because I'm still fairly new to this. I just wanted to give you guys a basic understanding of how to do intervals, and time lapses, which can cause a real cool effect if you have all the sequence and everything lined up right. So guys, before I leave, I want to give a shout out to No Limit PR, Swirl Kings, This Is E, Greg Carter, They all have amazing channels, social media. I'll put links below so you can check them out. And then two, gentlemanthreadsusa.com. You guys, it's winter time. You know, you guys want to get awesome accessory for men. Again, it's a great place to go. They will work with you, get a good deal. So take advantage of that now that it's, you know, holidays are in. So guys, let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching. Man, it's so freaking cold. Thank goodness though, I went to Gentleman Threads USA. Definitely got the right clothing and accessories to keep my daily living of fashion. That's right. Got this in Gentleman Threads. Check it out. Check it out if you also want to stand out, just like I do. Bam. I don't got no mic drop, so I have no mic. But yeah, check out gentlemanthreadsusa.com.